Okay. And share my screen. Okay, how are we doing? Can everybody see that? Oops. Melissa, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the Every Child Ready to Read? Excellent. Okay. Okay. I want to get all my ducks in a row here. Give me 1 second. Okay, I've got the chat window up. So hopefully I can follow along if you have questions or anything to add while I am going through the presentation. So I'm going to officially begin. Hello, my name is Cathy Potter, and I am a Librarian 1 at the Connecticut State Library, Division of Library Development, and part of the Children's and YA team. Welcome to a deep dive into the 5 practices of Every Child Ready to Read 2. Today's exploration is of playing. What do we know about play? Play is something we sometimes take for granted or delay in pursuing, or we feel we might be too old for. But I'm here to tell you that play is something that should be a lifelong pursuit. We also need to acknowledge that play is different for every individual, so what may be fun and enjoyable for one person may not be for another. Let's look at the science behind play, learn about current initiatives, and brainstorm ways to incorporate or expand upon activities for more playful learning and connection through spaces, programming, and outreach. Just going to pop in that LibGuide again. That's where you'll find lots of information about children's and young adult initiatives and programming. Okay. At the end of this session, attendees will be able to identify the different facets of play, its importance in early literacy and lifelong learning, and ways for librarians to evaluate and incorporate play into both their personal and professional lives. Okay. A little background into Every Child Ready to Read. It was first introduced in 2004 as a parent education tool to empower caregivers in helping the children in their care to develop literacy skills. ECRR was developed as a way to break the fourth wall and acknowledge that caregivers were also in the storytime room, and would benefit from learning how to support literacy acquisition for the children in their care through direct messages during programs. Librarians were encouraged to participate in training on how to incorporate activities for children and messages to adults to support a child's development of the 6 literacy skills into their story times, and how to present workshops to caregivers about the skills. The 6 skills were print awareness, letter knowledge, phonological awareness, vocabulary, narrative skills, and print motivation. For me, These were honestly a bit of a mouthful, and it was awkward for librarians and caregivers to embrace and integrate them into their practice. So, after a review of the program and input from librarians, in 2011, the 6 skills were transformed into 5 practices: talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. Every Child Ready to Read 2 recognizes that children learn about the world primarily through play, and thereby the importance of developing general knowledge. Play helps to strengthen symbolic thinking, a skill that readers need to help them learn that written words represent real objects and experiences. Play helps children develop oral language skills as they talk about what they're doing or putting their thoughts into words. Play provides an opportunity to build narrative skills and the understanding that stories have a distinct order: first, next, last. Essentially, play is a way children can learn all 6 skills from ECRR First Edition. If you want to learn more, Kim has some great information about Every Child Ready to Read on that, the DLD Children's and Young Adult LibGuide. So from this point on, the research I refer to for this deep dive was published after 2016. Just pop in the link to Every Child Ready to Read for you. So how might we define play? Here are a few ways. Dr. Stuart Brown, author of the book How It Shapes the Brain, author of the book Play, How It Shapes the Brain, opens the imagination and invigorates the soul, writes that, quote, play is a state of mind that one has when absorbed in an activity that provides enjoyment and a suspension of sense of time. And play is self-motivated, so you want to do it again and again, end quote. Peter Gray, author of the book Free to Learn, Why Unleashing the Instinct to Play Will Make Our Children Happier, More Self-Reliant, and Better Students for Life, writes that, quote, the characteristics of play all have to do with motivation and mental attitude, not with the behavior itself. 2 people might be throwing a ball or typing words on a computer, and one might be playing while the other is not. To tell which one is playing, you have to infer from their expressions and the details of their actions. The National Institute of Play defines play as, quote, a way to establish new connections. It primes the cortex for the development of the neural pathways that create our physical, social, emotional, and cognitive capabilities. So the more often children are in a play state, the more new brain circuits form and build their skills. Playing literally wires the brain for the skills we use our whole lifetime: physical agility, social confidence, emotional regulation, creativity, and resilience. As adults, time spent in a play state increases our resilience. It activates neural pathways in the brain that mitigate the effects of stress, end quote. Play can be something you do by yourself, such as reading, collecting, or creating, and it can also be social, in which you do an activity with other people of the same age or skill level. Play can offer opportunities to connect and share feelings with another person. Play can be pretending, experimenting, expressing oneself, all while learning about the world around you. The Fred Rogers Institute published a paper titled Fundamentals of Learning and Growing, inspired by Fred Rogers and educator practice, that includes a section on play. In this section, they discuss a person's capacity to play and that it is in reference to, quote, a person's ability to be creative, explore, and express oneself, end quote. And that, quote, there is no one way to play. It might happen individually or in groups. It could be active or quiet. Through play, everyone can learn and grow. Think for a moment about your attitudes towards play. Do you engage with playful activities often? Are you open to experimenting with play? Do you consider yourself to be creative? If you are struggling to think about your playfulness or creativity, the Institute suggests the following ways to encourage the capacity to play in ourselves and in others. Freedom in your schedule to allow for unstructured play. Prompts and invitations or setting up materials or toys for engagement, sometimes in new and unexpected ways. Creativity. Participate in opportunities to create art, music, or dance together. Include dramatic play, physical movement, and outdoor play. Storytelling, practicing, and modeling. Inject humor with games, jokes, and lighthearted conversation. Imagine what-if scenarios and offer hands-on learning. Give me 1 second. I want to pop in a couple of links into the chat. What activities are you currently engaged in with your life that you would consider to be play? Can you put your responses in the chat and try to come up with at least one for home and one for work? At home, I am assembling a model greenhouse kit and learning how to embroider. I also have 2 cats, Sophie and Henry, and they might make an appearance today. I don't really know, but I like to play with them. And at work, I've been having fun researching and learning more about these presentation topics. And I do admit to taking a few moments to play with a puppet or 2 when they've returned to the service center. And this is Funny Bird, and she's available for loan if you're interested. Yes, playing with the little ones definitely keeps you busy. What else? What other things are you doing? Ooh, new crafts. Awesome. Yeah, playing with a dog. Ooh, jigsaw puzzles, knitting, photos, socks. Oh, I always wanted to learn how to knit socks. Playing with your cat. Yes, playing with kids who come to the library, my favorite thing. New recipes. Ooh, then you have to eat it. Ah, felt food. Dungeon. Oh, D&D. Playful programming. Oh, for adults. Love it. Can anyone think of anything else? Oh, pickleball. Dramatic play areas. Nice. Coloring books. Little ones. Sensory bins and toys. Yes. Book displays. Nice. All right. Keep adding as you think. And we'll keep her going. Oh, I love the dress up. Hopefully it didn't frighten anyone. Got a good laugh, I hope. All right. So you may have heard the phrase, play is the real work of childhood, but Mr. Rogers had more to say about play. The full quote is, quote, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is serious learning. At various times, play is a way to cope with life and to prepare for adulthood. Playing is a way to solve problems and to express feelings. In fact, play is the real work of childhood. Fred Rogers. I love that quote. So play is identified by neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp as one of the 7 foundational brain circuits. These are the primary emotions that we are born with. The others are seeking, rage, fear, lust, care, and panic. In essence, biology drives us to play, but it's the environment that scaffolds increasingly complex capabilities. Our play circuit is buried deep in our brain, but when there is a stimulus that we want to turn our attention to, it becomes activated. The activation moves from the midbrain up to the cortex at the top of the brain and down to the cerebellum at the bottom of the brain. We wire our brains with neural pathways the more our brain receives these signals. As children are working at play, they are developing and strengthening motor skills, both fine and gross, literacy skills, and social emotional skills. Skills such as turn-taking, impulse control, sharing, winning, losing, resilience, and encouragement. Learning and teaching new skills can be accomplished through play. Quote, many of the words children hear come during playful activities. The time parents and children spend singing, drawing, or playing games, for example, can positively impact a young child's language growth and future literacy, since this time tends to increase vocabulary. End quote. With the improvement of communication skills, literacy and math scores are also improved. I'll dive deeper into the practice of talking in another presentation. Executive functioning increases during play through the expansion of a child's ability to retain information. Executive functions are mental processes that we use every day to solve problems, make plans, and manage emotions. Games with rules and strategy provide an opportunity to adapt to gameplay in the moment, which helps to expand a child's working memory, a key skill for future learning. Play involves critical thinking, evaluation, reflection, and trying something new. It also requires that we know how and when to redirect and change plans. Play encourages us to think, ask questions, and seek answers. Megan Lotz, author of The Playful Library, Building Environments for Learning and Creativity, writes, play facilitates 5 cognitive processes: problem framing, divergent thinking, mental transformation, practice with alternative solutions, and evaluative ability, end quote. Play also, quote, allows us to explore different perspectives, create alternative worlds, assume different roles, enact different identities, and function outside of cognitive contexts in which we normally operate, end quote. Skills learned through play cannot be taught through didactic teaching, but we know that many schools have transitioned away from hands-on learning and imaginative play in favor of strategies that will help close the achievement gap. However, the Reimagining School Readiness Position paper released in 2016 by the Bay Area Discovery Museum in San Francisco reports that children need to develop complex thinking skills before the age of 8 years old or before the end of 3rd grade. These skills include being able to understand conceptual math, the ability to get along with their peers and adults, being able to self-regulate, and to make plans and then carry them out. The study also revealed 6 key findings for babies, toddlers, preschoolers, and early elementary-aged children that are categorized into 3 areas: talk and play, science and math, and body and brain. For a look at the Bay Area Discovery museums reimagining school readiness. Kim's got a video of resources, or a video and accompanying resources. So take a look at that, Children's and YA LibGuide. In children, play changes as they grow older. Children move from unoccupied play to playing alone, then as an onlooker to parallel play, associative play, and then into cooperative play. We're going to take a moment and watch a video. One moment, I'm having technical difficulties. I am trying to figure out how to share this video with you so that you could both see it and hear it. My apologies. Any luck now?
Is there something in your Zoom presentation that when you go to sharing the screen asks if you want to include audio?
I thought I had turned that on. Let me see if I stop sharing and I can retry.
Technology is supposed to make life easier. Ha!
I don't know whoever said that, but all right, I'm going to try this. Oh, wait, 1 second. I did practice this ahead of time, but nothing ever works when you're actually doing it. How about now?
We can't see it yet.
Okay. 10,000th time with feeling. Doot.
We can always read the captions.
Okay. I am going to give up on the video and I will share it. I will share it out with you. Sorry about that. Okay. It's a really cute video, but that's okay. All right. Can you see my presentation again? Okay. Thank you. Oops. Okay. And we're back. Sorry about that. Okay. So unoccupied play is when a baby seemingly moves on their own for no reason, such as kicking their legs, which is a first sign of play. When they're awake, infants can be encouraged to engage in unoccupied play by giving them time to be free while lying on a safe surface without being wrapped up in a swaddle. I'm going to pop that video link into the chat if you'd like to watch it later. It's also going to be in the notes from the slide. Ah, we're here already. That was fast. All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break. I am going to pause our recording. My goodness. All right, so if everybody could be back here at 2:40, then we will continue at that point. All right, how's everybody doing? Ready to dive back in? Yeah? Okay, here we go. So, children engaged in playing alone might be exploring their surroundings by touching and tasting objects they come in contact with, toys, toes, and more. Putting safe and age appropriate toys within their grasp encourages that type of play. A child in the onlooker stage of play simply watches the play of other children but doesn't join in. Parallel play may be the most well-known type of play for preschoolers and toddlers. Children in this stage of play play next to each other but don't interact with each other. This stage is typically reached sometime between the ages of 2 and 3 years old. When children begin to play with each other but have different ideas and goals or are doing different things with the same toys, they are in the associative state of play. This stage typically happens between the ages of 3 and 5 years old. Experiencing a library play group is a great way to encourage this type of play. And between the ages of 4 and 6 years old, a child would typically enter the cooperative stage of play. Children will then start working together towards a common goal, such as building a tower. Cooperative play is instrumental in building social skills. Moving through these stages is a normal process and will happen on the child's own timeline. So we've talked about some definitions for play and skills that can be learned through play. So now let's take a look at the types or kinds of play. As we go through them, I invite you to post examples that come to mind for any or all of these types of play. And I am going to share with you a Padlet that I created so that we can kind of warehouse some ideas if you'd like to take a look and add to it, or you can also put them into the chat. So attunement play is defined by the Harvard Center on the Developing Child as the, quote, responsive serve and return interactions with caregivers that play an essential role in supporting healthy brain development, end quote. Body play, also known as embodied play, is using your body for activities like dancing or jumping. Object play is manipulating an object, such as a puzzle cube. Rough and tumble play is most often seen in animals and young children and could be described as something like wrestling. I'd like to give a shout out to a new book called Let's Rumble by Rachel G. Payne. And in case you missed it in the last Children's and YA newsletter, here's what I wrote. Physical play scenarios, social play, safe words, it's all here. This book is written by a former librarian that recognized as a parent the need for books showing positive expressions of rough and tumble play. Let's Rumble is the perfect book to share during story time with active participants that might enjoy trying out one of the play scenarios with families to encourage brain development through physical activity. And I'm going to, yeah. I did not realize that she was still a librarian. Thank you for sharing that. I am going to put a link for the catalog in the chat because this is a really good. Oh my goodness, so many things. Okay, social play is when you are playing with other people, such as in a game. Games with rules, such as board games, card games, and group games, develop skills such as following directions, taking turns, and managing impulse control. Ritual play includes celebrations, festivals, weddings, sporting events, church services, or coming-of-age events. Imaginative play can be seen in a pretend tea party or role-playing. In the book When You Wonder, You're Learning by Greg Bear and Ryan Radzewski, they refer to the work of Dorothy and Jerome Singer and their belief that this type of play is, quote, crucial to creativity or a willingness to explore the possible, end quote. The ingredients that are essential in developing this willingness includes adults that inspire, encourage, and join in the play of children, the availability of a dedicated space for play, a schedule that includes unstructured time, and objects that are simple but also enriching for the imagination. Psst, did they just define children's departments and children's librarians? I think so. Solo play is just that, playing by yourself. Free play is having the full freedom to make all of the decisions about play, from materials to activity to location. Play or free play is an activity that someone has chosen to do simply because they want to do it, the definition of intrinsic motivation. In other words, a person is doing this activity simply because they are internally satisfied by the experience of doing it and not because they will be externally rewarded by money or someone else's approval. Constructive play involves creating activities like drawing and painting, and crossover play is represented in playing fetch with a pet. Ooh, thanks for the other book rec. I will have to take a look at that. It's Friday Night WrestleFest by J.F. Fox. Thank you. Awesome. All right, parallel play involves peer-to-peer learning. Although this type of play is most commonly associated with toddlers, I can think of examples of adults engaging in it too. Can you? How about dance or cooking classes? So mixed stage play is involving participants of differing skill levels to learn from each other, learning new skills or how to lead and encourage. There are 3 other types of play worth mentioning that weren't in the original list from the National Institute of Play. They are dark play, fluid play, and nature play. Quote, when play is risky and uncomfortable, wild and chaotic, and shocks and challenges normative conventions, especially in schools, we consider it dark. Because of its potential to disrupt normative ideas of productive engagement, teachers often prohibit dark play, end quote. Researchers at Concordia University conducted a study on dark play and their moral explorations. They define dark play as play that explores themes involving fear and danger. Quote, when literacy leaders set an agenda that includes all types of play, including dark play, they challenge normative identities and ways of being in schools and the world, end quote. Fluid play is described in LEGO's 2018 Play Well report as play that has been reimagined as a dynamic, overlapping, frictionless experience that brings the real world, imaginary play, and digital experiences together as one, end quote. Characters, worlds, and ideas that first appear on screen come to life in play that can include drawings, play acting, storytelling, and more. Nature play is defined by the Australian Institute of Family Studies as free play that takes place outdoors and incorporates elements found in nature, such as sticks, rocks, leaves, water, and dirt. The focus on nature play is to recognize that our modern way of living often takes place in environments that are built and that there are benefits to engaging in nature for improved mental and physical development. Okay. LEGO's Play Well report reiterates that, quote, what is clear from research is that to thrive during this vital early phase of their lives, children need care and constant stimulation through play. Powerful links exist between childhood experience and the development of balanced and robust individuals with healthy minds and bodies. Neuroscience is helping us to see this process, showing how play activates the DNA that triggers the phases of human growth. If children fail to get enough play, they may miss key developmental milestones and find it hard, if not impossible, to make up the ground later in life. A rich and diverse mix of physical, creative, emotional, social, digital, and cognitive play in these early years is vital and ensures children will make the most of these rapidly occurring but often fleeting growth opportunities for growth. Play types are not necessarily siloed activities, meaning that when we play, we are most likely experiencing more than one type of play at a time. We may be at a wedding learning new moves on the dance floor, which might include ritual, body, and parallel play. Do you recognize activities you engage with as play? What types of play appeals to you the most? Tell me in the chat. And a fun fact, does anybody know what the word Lego means in Danish?
Does it mean play?
Part of it. Yeah, Bree's got it. I gave you guys time to Google it, didn't I? It means play well. Yes. All right, the National Institute for Play and Dr. Peter Gray have determined that there are 5 elements that need to be present for an activity to be considered play. Oh, I love that. Nature play equals happiness. Yes. Okay, so those 5 elements are: it is self-chosen or self-directed. The person has a playful state of mind. It is imaginative or creative. It's structured or order-based. And the participant is intrinsically motivated. Play or free play is often the result of a child engaging with what naturally interests them and that which they want to do repeatedly. Not surprisingly, children more easily reach a state of free play without the responsibilities of adulthood. Adults tend to exhibit playfulness most often through a blend of attitudes and motivations around their responsibilities. We can all agree that some activities can be quite playful and provide a sense of internal satisfaction. But adults rarely get to the same level of child's playful state. For both children and adults, free play and playfulness have positive impacts. For children, it contributes to their healthy development, and for adults, a sense of mental calmness and well-being. The degree to which each of these is reached contributes to the subjective sense of how playful an activity really is. If an activity is at the highest level of each element, the activity is fully playful. If there are multiple children participating in a play activity, there needs to be consensus of the choices for the activity and its structure. If there is not consensus, there will be some participants who are not fully engaged and therefore not truly playing. In addition, if an adult or non-participant questions the choices of the players or tries to direct the activity, it stops being play. So tell me a responsibility that you have that you find is playful. I know I'm making you think on a Friday afternoon. I'm sorry. Ooh, being a mom, yes. What else? Being a children's librarian, yes, sometimes it can be very playful, yes. Doing music and movement was one of my most fun and playful programs that I used to do. What else? Do you find yourself competing with yourself, trying to see how fast you can do something, or um, maybe washing the car, washing dishes, playing with the bubbles, reading all the new picture books? Yeah. Cooking, raking leaves. Yes. I remember my mom used to peel an apple and she used to, we'd be making pie or something and she would see how long the peel could get before it broke. That was like her playful way of peeling apples. Reassembling puzzles in the children's area. Oh my gosh, that could be a playful test. All right. Awesome. Magnetiles. Yeah. All the time, anytime. All right, let's keep going. If you have any more ideas, add them to the chat. All right, so we're going to have a little bit of fun here. Did you know that everyone has a play personality? As we age, we develop preferences for the types of play that we enjoy. And according to Dr. Stuart Brown, who does admit that these are not quite scientifically based, they are still interesting nonetheless. And there are 8 different types of personality types: the joker, the kinesthete, the explorer, the competitor, the director, the collector, and the artist, creator, and the storyteller. So let's take a few minutes to complete the quiz. And then if you could put in the chat which personality you identify with. I put the link in the chat, or you can use your phone if you've got it to access the QR code. It's a little Friday fun. I'll put my type into the chat. I am an explorer. So I
I
like
don't
to.
find most of these answers ones that I would do. There's no,
I know, and I think that's a really interesting way that they have framed how you um, with the choices that you make. Yeah, because I found the same thing. It was really hard to pick because I was like, I wouldn't do any of those, but oh well. A few more team explorers. Storytellers, yes. Joker. Oh, nice. Wait, are you the same person who jumped out of the closet in uh, costume?
Cindy, Kathy, what are you? Kathy, what are you?
I did the test twice, 2 different days, and I'm an explorer. So
Both times.
both times, yeah,
Well, at least you're consistent.
yeah, true. Well, it's not scientific, but it's still fun. All right, so I'm going to keep going because I just realized it's 3 o'clock already, and we've got a little ways to go. All right. So in my research, I discovered 3 ways to frame play. One is around specific activities. A second is existing on a continuum. And a third is through a cultural lens. In Jamie Blythe's peer-reviewed article, Play-Based Learning, Playing the Way to Rich Learning, published in the Brandon University's Journal of Graduate Studies and Education, she notes that the Canadian Ministers of Education Canada have endorsed play-based learning, and the Manitoba government has conceptualized the following 5 types of play centered around specific activities. So, exploratory, which leads to experimentation and playing with new ideas or materials. Sensory or loose parts play, which enhances skills in math and problem solving. Constructive play, which can be goal oriented and open ended while working with materials to make art or build structures. Symbolic play, in which one item or person represents another, allowing for children to act out stories or scenarios through their observations of how the world works. This type of play allows children to connect their play to their thoughts and feelings, thereby promoting empathy. Blythe then draws attention to a pair of Canadian researchers, Daniels and Pyle, that have developed a second conceptualization of play as being on a continuum from child-directed to teacher-directed. They define free play as play in which no adult is taking the initiative for a child's growth. Inquiry play is play in which an adult becomes involved to enhance the learning experience based on a child's interests. Collaborative play is where there is shared control between the adult and child, but the play scenarios are set up in advance based on the child's interests, and there are specific learning goals to be achieved. Playful learning is when the play scenario is adult created without consideration for the child's interests in which there are specific outcomes. And learning through games is when an adult teaches specific skills through a variety of games. The research shows that the most effective learning happens in the middle, where children and adults share control. In the Playful Learning Library, Building Environments for Learning and Creativity by Megan Lotz, she shares that Brian Sutton Smith, a play scholar, sees play expressed in the following 7 cultural frames: a form of progress, an exercise in power, a reliance on fate, a claim for identity, a form of frivolity, an issue of the imagination, or a manifestation of personal experience. So tell me in the chat what you think it is, A, B, C, or D. Play-based learning is A, any activity or game that builds children's development and academic skills. B, an effective teaching strategy. C, simple, fun, and collaborative. D, all of the above. Oh, you guys are still awake on a Friday night. Yes, D it is, or Friday afternoon. It's not Friday night yet. Yes, D, all of the above. All right, so there are 2 types of play-based learning: free play and guided play. Free play and guided play are equally important to a child's development. And we talked about free play earlier, and that's when it occurs when a child is engaging with what naturally interests them and that which they want to do repeatedly. A child that is engaging in adult-led activities is experiencing guided play. It is learning while playing with the use of structure-based activities, which provides a deeper learning experience than free play or direct instruction alone. It is also more about the means than the ends, also known as process over product. Play-based learning is an important component to outdoor activities and digital play. Harvard researchers studying play in American schools agree that play is central to the way people learn and that when they play, they are engaged, relaxed, and challenged. These states of mind are favorable for learning. Play also allows people to test their theories about how the world works, experiment with language, explore social relationships, take risks, and reimagine the world. They develop agency, empathy, imagination, and learn to deal with uncertainty. Lego Foundation research has led to the proposal that the relationship between play and learning can be explained by 5 characteristics of playful learning: joyful, meaningful, actively engaging, iterative, and socially interactive activities characterize playful learning. To support a child's motivation to learn while connecting to their prior knowledge, experiences, and interests, it is essential that activities are enjoyable, rewarding, engaging, and personally important, physically and mentally active, iterative, and social. Children become focused during play and are able to persist through challenges, make connections, build brain networks, engage in deep learning, consolidate their skills, and remember what they learned. Play-based learning is also a tool for inclusion. Students with developmental delays can benefit greatly from play-based learning. In the 2023 article, Developmental Play Skills as Outcomes of Early Intervention from the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders, study results revealed that play is an important tool in helping a child with autism gain skills in thinking and communication through their gains in diversity and attentiveness in play. Gains in attention skills can be made by interactions in play, such as being expressive, playing games, or engaging in a fun activity, taking turns, showing encouragement, and sitting across from a child to better draw their attention and have increased eye contact. In addition, library spaces offer an organized and interesting space with the ability to find a nook or table where there are fewer distractions for more focused play and interactions. Including students with developmental delays in play and play-based learning will benefit everyone by creating a community of inclusion and therefore a community of empathetic learners. So play, quote, play must be the right of every child, not a privilege. After all, when regarded as a privilege, it is granted to some and denied to others, creating further inequities. Play is currently being denied in the name of rigor and academic, both which have been used as racist ways of keeping the status quo in place. This is Mariana Suto Manning. When each of us thinks about play, I'm quite positive that we all have a unique picture of what we imagine based on our own experiences in our youth and as adults. We may also have specific images of what play looks like at our libraries. From what playthings are available, to how they're arranged, to when they're played with, who is playing with them, to how playfully we engage with our library visitors. In my research about play, I came across a phrase that was something I had never before considered. Play is a social construct. The information I've shared so far has been largely formed by research of Western world countries. After seeing the phrase, play is a social construct, I then wondered what information was available that discussed culture and or race in play. I found a discussion of panelists from the Power of Playful Learning, Harvard Graduate School of Education Pedagogy of Play project, who shared that, quote, play is culturally determined by with whom, how, when, and where children play, and that it's important to acknowledge that priorities and experiences are of the cultural community. And end quote. The panelists recognize that through their research, they might be imposing a different type of play than what the communities they studied naturally engaged in. Even so, they found that across the communities they did study, there were themes that emerged around playful learning. In Denmark, they included choice, wonder, and delight, and in South Africa, ownership, curiosity, and enjoyment. While in American schools, students verbalize that playful learning must be meaningful, joyful, and empowering. Further research in South America has not yet been published, but I'll be interested in knowing what themes emerge there as well. A chapter from the text, Reconceptualizing Quality in Early Childhood Education, Care, and Development, Understanding the Child and Community, titled The Race and RECE, Reconceptualizing Play-Based Learning Through an Anti-Racist Lens by Carrie Ann Eskai. And I do want to shout out the librarians at Southern Connecticut State University for granting me access to this chapter. I sent them a chat message and they had it in, I was reading it within 5 minutes. It was awesome. But her article reminds us to continue to seek out anti-racist professional development opportunities and to recognize that play-based learning isn't the only effective way to approach learning, and that it shouldn't replace cultural practices nor previous knowledge. Eskai advocates for including multiple perspectives and theories in shaping spaces, materials, and activities to allow, quote, children to utilize play to express their racial knowledge and lived experiences, end quote. Asking caregivers about the play activities they engage in culturally and asking for help in implementing them provides consistency and connection between home and community. Eskai further notes that quote, learning through play should not come at the expense of disavowing the history, culture, and identities of racialized children. Play, the language of children's souls, honors their essence, their being, their individuality, and their connection to the spiritual and natural worlds. To such a quality, one which is fluid, allowing for both exploration and self-discovery, we must now fix and retain our gaze, end quote. Many children we encounter have a multiplicity of cultural and linguistic backgrounds. An article in Literacy Today by author Youngmin Kwan discusses the play these children may engage in. At the close of her article, she outlines 3 suggestions for supporting children and families that live across multiple linguistic, cultural, and geographic boundaries. One that libraries are already striving to provide is books that reflect those experiences. Another suggestion is to position children as the expert of their experiences and how they show up in their play. The last is inviting these children to share artifacts of their culture. What programs are sparked for you by these suggestions? You guys, do you have things that are popping in your head or ideas that are sparking about programming or library ideas? Throw them in the chat. I'm going to keep going. With the increased awareness of the importance of play across borders and continents, the United Nations in 2024 declared June 11th the International Day of Play. The theme for 2025 was Choose Play Every Day. The UN's global call to action on governments, businesses, and other stakeholders includes 3 points. Scale up services, including parenting programs that promote play and attachment. Enable access to preschool and learning through play for every child between 3 and 6 years old. And ensure every child has access to safe, inclusive, and well-maintained play areas. In recognition of the diverse play experiences of the children in its member countries, the UNICEF created a passport for play for the 2025 International Day of Play as a resource for parents. It is especially fun. The passport includes games from 4 countries, complete with instructions, ways to scaffold the games for for a variety of ages and abilities, and includes space for a child to reflect on their favorite games and experiences while learning the new games. Connecting with your community to learn more about how they play demonstrates a culturally relevant approach to play. which in turn provides opportunities for children to, quote, become confident, self-directed learners who can participate in a democratic society and engage in a 21st century economy, end quote. For the skills learned in play are skills that have lifelong impact. A look at the World Economic Forum's Future Jobs Report for 2025 shows that 8 out of the 10 core skills employers look for in 2025 include those that are first encountered through play: analytical thinking, resilience, flexibility and agility, leadership and social influence, creative thinking, motivation and self-awareness, technological literacy, empathy and active listening, and curiosity and lifelong learning. For the year 2030, although specialized skills and technology move to the top, employers are still projected to be looking for 6 out of those 8 same skills. Bo Stern Thompson, head of the LEGO Foundation Center for Creativity, Play, and Learning, believes that, quote, all children are born eager to explore, experiment, and create using whatever is available to them. It's more important than ever that we as adults nurture that curiosity by providing ample opportunities for children to experiment and to try out new and creative ideas, both in and out of school. These opportunities enrich their everyday lives, allowing them to practice and develop skills that are critical for thriving in the 21st century. Skills like problem solving, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. Having a broad range of skills has become far more important than being able to memorize large quantities of information. And preparing our children for a future where flexibility and innovation will be needed for the individual and society, end quote. The LEGO Play Well report also states that, quote, through building the dynamic workforces of tomorrow has become a key initiative in many countries and a talking point in the global business media. There are many far-reaching benefits to society of a more emotionally agile population. What starts with individuals and grows through shared play into family benefits ripples outward toward the communities and societies. The function of creativity and other life skills isn't simply to help innovate for economic gain, but to socially innovate and improve society. Issues of poverty, inequality, and social division are rife across the world. Solving these complex problems, building more tolerant and equitable societies relies on social as well as technological innovation, end quote. As an institution, the library is only one facet of the spaces that children and families have access to in their communities. The cultural values, ethnic and linguistic diversity, library resources, and social issues, and the very way play is conceptualized will affect how librarians implement and foster play opportunities in their libraries. By acknowledging our own play preferences and seeking out partnerships across library departments, municipal agencies, community partners, and families themselves, we can help to enrich the play lives of all children. Libraries pride themselves on being places where the doors are open to everyone and are continuously working to ensure that they are safe and inviting. The American Academy Pediatrics report, The Power of Play, a Pediatric Role in Enhancing Development in Young Children, acknowledges that, quote, when play and safe, stable, nurturing relationships are missing in a child's life, toxic stress can disrupt the development of executive function and the learning of pro-social behavior. In the presence of childhood adversity, play becomes even more important, end quote. Play and safety go hand in hand. To be able to engage in play, a person needs to feel that they can relax enough to let go of their worries and feel comfortable with re-engaging with something familiar or exploring something new on their own terms. Libraries and library staff help to provide a safe place with friendly and welcoming staff to escape whatever reality awaits outside the library doors. To be clear, I am not saying that libraries and librarians are here to fix every issue, but we can be thought of as a place of respite, information, connection, and play. At the 2025 Fred Camp, hosted by co-authors Ryan Rydzuski and Greg Baer of the book When You Wonder You're Learning, Mr. Rogers' Enduring Lessons for Raising Creative, Curious, Caring Kids, educators in attendance learned of the importance of community influence over a child's development. Living in a safe and secure environment provides the foundation for exploration and learning. This security is often found in imperceptible ways, much like observing Mr. Rogers lacing up his sneakers and putting on his cardigan for another episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Librarians provide it too, from ensuring that the space is physically safe, to repeating opening and closing songs, to wearing a smile in our eyes when we greet our families. What other ways can you think of that we show libraries as safe places? Throw it in the chat. I think by now we can agree that children are playing are also learning, and that we consider how to facilitate the learning process. The co-authors created a guide, Wonder With Us, How Educators, Families, and Neighbors Can Find Inspiration in Fred Rogers. The guide helps to answer two big questions. What is it that learners need, and how can we help them find it? The guide and included research recognizes that children are influenced by the relationships of the people around them, and that forming and sustaining positive relationships and developing social and emotional skills is more important for school readiness than traditional benchmarks. Quote, early childhood education should capitalize on children's natural interests and intrinsic drive to learn rather than follow an adult-determined agenda. Stated simply, young children learn best in an interactive, relational mode rather than through an educational model that focuses on rote instruction, end quote. I believe that libraries are perfectly positioned to help facilitate playful learning. Yes, love what I'm seeing in the comments. Thank you. In evaluating our existing library spaces, it is sometimes helpful to start with a framework of ideas to get thinking about what is in our space, where it is located, who utilizes it, if there are opportunities for expansion and or improvement, and how we encourage engagement. In The Power of Play, Designing Early Learning Spaces, the authors use the philosophies of Maria Montessori to encourage the arrangement of child-centered, prepared environments, which allows for adult-child interactions within a guided choice of activities and space for free and spontaneous engagement by children. The book's index provides some tools to plan and evaluate library spaces, including a matrix of sample venues or areas and their accompanying themes, furnishings, and books, the learning and play opportunities that could be encouraged, potential adult and child interactions, and ideas for flexibility and adaptations. The list of potential adult and child interactions could be used as a springboard to develop literacy tips. These tips can serve several purposes, such as for use in social media posts, such as a series like Literacy Tip Tuesdays, and printed out and hung in early literacy spaces for everyone to see. In the community resources section of the website for the Bay Area Museum, there are several toolkits with messages that could be paired with toys and activities to connect skills and brain development with lifelong benefits and ideas for extending play at home. The museum's family conversation starters are a set of ready-made printable posters that are multilingual and present a statement starter with a possible completion to the phrase and an explanation of the statement's connection to noticing, supporting, encouraging, and listening to a child. Sharing these phrases with grown-ups helps to connect an activity with a skill in a non-judgmental way. Demonstrating, encouraging, and positive interactions between a grown-up and child is one way to model the recognition of play as work and the skills that are gained. So when library staff is observing play, asking open-ended questions or making statements that begin with, "I wonder," it can help guide curiosity without stepping in to test knowledge and risking interrupting the enjoyment of an activity. And after hearing them, the interactions are often replicated by the grown-ups during future moments of play. Another resource for messages about play are a set of cards that explain the ABCs of play. And I did make a little set and I put them on a key ring. And these were developed by the Institute of Brain Sciences. From A to Z, the cards, which can be printed and laminated and added to the keyring, include 26 play concepts with citations that could be used as conversation starters, posters, or social media posts. They'd be great as a gift for grown-ups with young children too. And a second kit by the Bay Area Discovery Museum that libraries can utilize is the CREATE framework, learning environments to develop creativity as a way to plan for supporting the development of creativity during the first 10 years of life. So play and learning environments or playscapes should strive to encourage children to explore play, learn, and discover, periodically changing out themes with the introduction of new materials and expanding play opportunities and making simple changes like switching fonts and colors of signage can help keep things fresh. Now let's take a moment to have fun in a play kitchen. What new foods could be added to reflect the community in your library that your library building is in? And go ahead and put these in the chat, please. So instead of purchasing toys, could you put a call out to community members for empty and clean food containers? What about utensils and cooking tools? How about recipes in multiple languages? Could a play kitchen be turned into a revolving restaurant with menus to feature a variety of cuisines? Are there foods that could be made with felt, crocheted with yarn, or created with paper mache? How about displaying a recipe of the month, complete with photos that include the names of the ingredients, along with flavor profiles, kitchen tools, the measurements required, and the steps for cooking? How else might the cultures of our communities be represented in library play settings? Earlier, we talked about the importance of celebrating cultural and linguistic diversity. Librarians can discover what games and activities families are engaging with at home by simply asking, either in conversation or by making it part of registration or through feedback loops. Add a question on a whiteboard where families can add their favorites. Invite families to fill out suggestion forms with their contact information for follow-up. What other ways can you think of? Now let's step outside for a moment. Folks coming to the library interact with it even before opening the door. They may read the signs, use the parking lot, traverse the walkways. Many libraries got creative during COVID to extend activities to the perimeter of their buildings with chalk or tape paths inviting playful movement. Could those become more frequent or, dare I say, permanent? Perhaps along with installing a story walk, the Born Learning Trail signs from the United Way could be an option for both a partnership with your parks department and a way to share simple and fun activities with the community at large. And just a side note, the website for the Born Learning Trails has printable activities in English and Spanish for 20 books that could be used in-house or outreach as program plans. And they are geared towards children that are either 0 to 2 or 3 to 5 years old. And these are just a few ideas to bring new ideas to play to your space inside and out. And I note that it is 3:29. I will keep going. If you need to leave, I understand. I apologize for going over. I think technical difficulties had something to play with that. I've got about 5 slides left, and I will go as quickly as I can. Sometimes seeing what other libraries around the country are doing to encourage play in their communities helps to bridge the gap between what you already know and what could be possible. I first learned about Kids at Uptown Lofts in a post on Facebook's ALA think tank site. Kids at Uptown Lofts is a library branch of the Kenosha Public Library system in Wisconsin. They are located on the ground floor of a building that offers affordable housing on the floors above. The building, purchased with ARPA funds, is owned by the city, and the intent of Kids at Uptown Lofts is to provide an experience of both a library and a museum focused on learning about STEM concepts through hands-on exploration and open-ended play. Each month, a new theme is installed in the discovery area, complete with activity stations and simple prompts to engage with the materials. Staff are assigned to float through the space, helping to keep things tidy, introduce STEM language and concepts, pose challenges, and provide feedback. Adjacent to the discovery area is an art room that is open all the time and a baby garden for younger children. And community and staff response has been overwhelmingly positive. A 2018 article in ALSC's Children in Libraries outlines the Racing to Read, Play, and Learn centers in Springfield, Missouri. Almost 15 years ago, the Springfield Greene County Library District developed the Racing to Read, Play, and Learn centers and accompanying branding concept for their 10-branch system. The Play and Learn centers are pieces of furniture customized with tubs holding toys and props. I spoke with Stephanie Smallwood, Youth Services Coordinator, who explained how they work. She and Janine Birkenfeld, co-author of the article, worked together early on to launch the program and expand it to include branding for their early literacy programs. Now full-time staffer Jennifer Wardlaw coordinates requests from branches and puts together tubs to ship out to the branches along with other duties. Every few years, new toys are purchased and their early literacy committee develops the prompts, and items are cleaned weekly by the branch or as often as needed with a bleach solution. A yuck bucket is available too, and soft toys are laundered on site in the main branch's washer and dryer. Stephanie shared a list of their favorite toy companies, which I'll include in follow-up materials. Similar to the design of Connecticut's Fairfield Public Library downtown theme, the Maryland and Baltimore County Public Library branches, Storyville at Rosedale and Storyville at Woodlawn, are set up as invitations to play. Unlike Fairfield Public Library's design, which houses the picture book collection throughout the downtown, the Storyville branches are separate from the children's stack. Storyville's downtown areas were designed with keeping Maryland's school readiness benchmarks in mind as a way to connect the learning through play happening at the library with the skills children need to start school. Yes, toy libraries are getting popular. I love it. Libraries like the Cragen Memorial Library in Colchester, Mary Cheney in Manchester, and Seymour Library, all family place libraries. The overall goal of family place libraries is to develop and institutionalize a family-friendly environment by transforming libraries into community centers for literacy, early childhood development, parent education and engagement, family support, and community information, end quote. Library staff attend a multi-day training and bring back the knowledge to set up specially designed spaces and collections and facilitate parent workshops, offer baby and toddler classes, develop partnerships, and conduct research. To help get into the mindset of looking at play through a new lens, I've created a list of sample principles for more playful libraries that are based on Jessica Joelle Alexander's 10 principles to inspire families to play well. So the first one is challenge the way you think about play and acknowledge the benefits for children, community, families, and your community. Encourage free play by setting out play things with minimal instruction. Kickstart programs with physical play to help adults to get into a playful mindset by getting the heart pumping and encouraging laughter so that families can more easily connect. Provide opportunities for a range of play experiences and partner with staff and organizations that can help expand the breadth of those experiences. Practice and encourage others to get into a state of flow during play. The more often you reach a state of flow, the easier it will be to get there next time. Keep toys and craft supplies accessible. Embrace the mess. It means creativity is at play. Mistakes are opportunities to make room for learning how to make changes or corrections while building resilience and a growth mindset. Give children space to figure things out. Be silly. Speak with funny voices and amplify your movements to build imagination, storytelling, and social emotional skills. Include programs for people to come together and play on a regular basis. Cleaning up is always the hardest job. Make it fun by adding music, games, or competition to get it done. Are there any other principles that should be added? If you think of something, put it in the chat. And finally, libraries can be a place where it is safe to play, explore, and try on new identities. I would suggest that everyone take some time to reflect on your own relationship with play. Ask coworkers and colleagues about theirs. Look through your calendar and program plans to find ways to bring more play into your personal and professional life. Tour your space to discover where aspects of play could be updated or added to encourage more playful visits. Thank you so much for joining me today on this deep dive into the Every Child Ready to Read practice of play. Please join me next time for a deep dive into singing. Today's recording will be available on the Connecticut State Library's Division of Library Development page, Children's and YA Services. I will send out the link to everyone who registered along with the list of resources and more. And I have a survey that I'm hoping you will take a moment to fill out. If you don't get to it now, it will be sent out to you in about an hour or so. Picasso playtime, that sounds like fun. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, so I have the survey here. If you could take a minute to fill it out, I would really appreciate it. If you click on it, yeah, details. Hey, put it in the Padlet. Put it in the Padlet, please. But I hope you enjoyed today. Please, please, please be honest in your evaluation. I am working on the next presentation, which will be a deep dive into singing, and that will be on Friday, November 14th at 2 o'clock. And I will work really hard to nail down the technology and stay within the time, and also make time for us to chat. I am going to stop recording and stop sharing. So if anyone would like to go off